Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to the Christian Barry Fieldhouse. Augusta University and the Emmanuel Lions doing battle tonight here on this Tuesday evening. It is the first Tuesday in October, Blake. It's hard to believe that it is the month of October. I am Jay Douglas. Blake Collins, as I mentioned, we're on hand for another what should be competitive match. Emmanuel comes in 10-7, 5-1 in conference play. They split last week. They lost a 5-setter to Belmont Abbey, but they swept Lee's McRae 3-0. Augusta 13-3, 3-1 in conference play. They are coming off a 2-game sweep against UNC Pembroke and Francis Marion. Blake, initial thoughts as we flip the calendar to October.
It's been a phenomenal year thus far here in the Peach Belt Conference with improved play all the way around from all squads. And notable to that is to the team that Augusta lost to in Georgia College. They made adjustments throughout that matchup to garner them the second and the third set in that particular matchup. So it's been an improved conference all the way around. Now Emmanuel shoots into today's matchup as well with a rigorous schedule behind them, as you mentioned, on a winning streak right now. But they've also played against Carson Newman, who came in here and gave the Jags fits, and it was one of the tournament losses for the Jags. They've also been a contender against Limestone, which Augusta in the past has had confrontations with Limestone and have, they've been a good opponent. So from that standpoint, it should be a great matchup all the way through.
No question.
Now, coming in, the Peach Belt Conference has gotten Augusta prepared for Emmanuel. Now, they've had more games to prepare for the tougher opponent in the conference of Augusta University, but it should be a very good all-around contest. And let's not forget, too, that if I'm looking at this correctly, that after Augusta, Emmanuel has Lander coming up on the 11th of October, so that should be another good feat for them. So it should be a very well-balanced matchup here this evening, and for Augusta get back to using that front court that was so vital in the first couple of games and the first couple of matchups, and then start utilizing eye movement more and the quick feet that you've had throughout the opening tournaments that we've had in a couple of games in the Peach Belt Conference, that you've utilized that to purity brilliance. So from that standpoint, mix in a little bit of that, and then from Emmanuel's perspective, mix up your attacks, mix up ways to throw off the defense and the front court of Augusta, because that's one thing we haven't really talked about with Augusta thus far, is their defense has really been impeccable with that front court. And not only that, but the defensive setters, Natalia Gavea, and then Holland Martinez, the libero, and then Garmos coming over the back end with a defensive setter as well. Every facet of Augusta is working brilliantly right now. It will be a tough contest for Emmanuel College, but they are extremely up to the challenge for tonight. It should be a great matchup to witness.
Well, Peach Belt Conference standings: USC Aiken 3-0, Augusta 3-1, Lander 2-1, Georgia College 2-2, Francis Marion and Flagler both 1-3, and UNC Pembroke 0-2. Should be a great matchup of front courts in general, because both teams are extremely tall, extremely lengthy. I think Augusta has a little bit of advantage. They are a little more experienced. Emmanuel only has 2 seniors on this team, but it's going to be all about blocking and getting the ball around the blockers to get points, utilizing the block to maybe force an error, because these are 2 teams that are going to dominate up front.
Well, that also goes into mixing up your attack strategy, mixing up your game plan, infusing a little bit of soft serve into powerful kills and attacks to throw the defense off balance as well. Now, an X factor to this game as well is, you mentioned the couple of seniors on the Emmanuel side. Augusta's leadership has tremendously come on over the past year to 2 years, and the central leadership aspect with them is so strong. So if they get down and they get on the ropes, then look for that leadership to spring up and direct them back on path and calm them down and play their game. Now they've got seniors in Natalia Govea, Mackenzie Beck, Blair Bolton, Savannah Gonzalez, and a neutral core of seniors that have been really good leaders for this squad. So look for that to be an X factor in tonight's matchup as well.
Well, we talk about matchups. It's going to be the offense of Savannah Gonzalez, Mackenzie Beck, kind of the dynamic duo for Augusta, countered by Asia Avery and Stephanie Hardy on the back end for Emmanuel, and flipping the script, Julie DeBlanc and Jessica Gray up front for Emmanuel versus Holland Martin and maybe Natalia Gouveia on the back end. So which forwards, so to speak, can take advantage of the defenders and vice versa, because that's probably where the game is going to be won and lost. Who takes advantage of their kill opportunities? Who's able to dig out the tough kills, so to speak? And I really am looking forward to some long rallies tonight. A lot of ladies, both these teams, they've racked up a lot of digs. They know how to save points.
A lot of long points, a lot of heart infused with that as well. And a lot of it will depend on the matchups, where the rotations lay within the rotations, whether it be you have Avery on Gonzalez or whether you have Mackenzie Beck on Avery or vice versa. Those matchups are key to present different opportunities. And not only that, but we talk about the foot movement, but you can also create your own offense as well through eye movement and set up different plays by either faking plays out and going the other direction and stuff like that, what Augusta has been used to doing really well. We'll see if they infuse a little bit of that tonight, but also that's key for Emmanuel too, to try to induce some of that so they can capitalize on the opportunities that are presented to them as well.
Yeah, and something that's probably going to be something we need to keep an eye on is Augusta runs a 3-person rotation at setter. You've got Brian Garmos, Mackenzie Beck, and even Peyton Murchie. Looking at the stats, Stephanie Hardy for Emmanuel is the only setter that has any of multiple assists. So is she going to get tired as this game wears on, or because she has this experience, is she going to be Iron Woman out there? And then you talk about Augusta using the 3-setter rotation. Is that chemistry going to be something to keep an eye on? Because Hardy has chemistry probably with every one of her outside hitters, whereas maybe Garmos gels with maybe Chloe Allen a little more, or Mackenzie Beck gels with Gonzalez or Hedrick. You know, it's just finding those pieces and being able to use those in a match like this where assists and proper sets could make all the difference.
Right, and that's going to be legitimately a key as well, because as we're looking at it, Garmos stepped up huge in that Georgia College loss. She stepped up really huge for Augusta. But having chemistry with everybody such as Avery does on your team, you kind of get a feeling to know where everyone is going to be, where you also would like to get to cover up some of the holes if the opposing squad, such as Augusta, does not use the things we talked about earlier to set things like that up. So that chemistry aspect, yes, it's really good to have a 3-layer attack on the opposing side with Garmos, with Murchie, and with
Mackenzie Beck,
and Natalia Gouveia, and with Holland Martin as well.
Yeah,
they've all been really good at being able to utilize chemistry in their facets.
Yeah.
The thing where it would interest me in a sense, where you talk about Avery being able to pick up everybody.
Right. Yeah.
But the thing about it is if she does get exhausted,
right,
and we don't know yet how long this matchup will go.
Right.
If it does go past a third set, go into fourth and fifth, I'm not necessarily looking for her to pick up everybody else. It would be if they can develop strategies to where everybody else would be able to rotate around to pick her up.
Right.
As well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Jay and Blake counting you down to Augusta and Emmanuel. It's faculty night, so we're going to have kind of an extended intro. All of the Augusta ladies are going to be escorted by some of their professors, maybe some people that they idolize in the faculty department. So that'll be a fun ceremony that takes place before the game. And we appreciate all professors out there, not just ones at Augusta, but all universities. We know it's not easy, and so we appreciate you very much giving us the ability to have the education. And we'll joke a little bit about faculty maybe a little later, because there's some stories that, who's your favorite faculty member, did you have a favorite professor, things of that nature. But right now, just some final opening comments is Augusta, you figure, wants to get Savannah Gonzalez and Mackenzie Beck kill attempts early. So the question I pose to you, Blake, is how do you get them going if you're Augusta? And then on the other side for Emmanuel, you got to figure they're going to rely on DeBlanc and Gray up front, getting them touches early. Just talk about setters putting their hitters in position to be effective early going, first set, second set.
If you know that going in, then the opposing defensive front court will be dead set on trying to block those two.
Right.
Then, from the outset of that, if you know that going forward, strategic-wise, strategy-wise, you know that dead set going forward. So you're looking to implement, whether it be a little bit of Chloe Allen in the mix, whether it be a little bit of the junior that we've seen in Krutzinger coming into play.
Yeah, Krutzinger played very well the last time I was here against Clark Atlanta. Got a lot of reps, and even Carla Rosario as well. You make a great point.
So get them more involved and see if Emmanuel adjusts out of that to open Savannah and open Mackenzie back up for more opportunities. Because if they know that and they're dead set on blocking them, yeah, they'll create their own points.
Right.
But it's not going to be 20 kills, 35 kills on their part alone, like they are accustomed to at times.
Yeah.
So from that instance, once you get everybody else incorporated, then the onus falls on Emmanuel to try to counterbalance that, counteract to it, and formulate a defensive and attack strategy in an attack position to counter that and to counterattack.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, that's one aspect that you can look at today to see how both of these teams play. And is, with all of this being said, the front court from both squads, let's not underestimate this. The front court for both sides, as we mentioned, the height kind of matches up as well. It is going to be crucial in seeing how they either stick with the game plan or they adjust mid-set or they adjust coming out of timeouts or sets to get different aspects of their games going.
Yeah, and so talk about the height on both teams. It's going to be points at the net. It's going to be blocking, like I said. Do we go tandem blocks? Do we go solo blocks?
Right.
Getting the ball around the block, using the block to whichever team's advantage. And then the offense counterbalanced by the defense that, I mean, these dig numbers are incredible for both sides.
So
we're going to be in for maybe not too long of a night, but there are going to be some rallies where you're like, how did she save that? Or how was that not a point? And that's what makes the game of volleyball so exciting. These ladies laying it all out there for the betterment of the team and a chance to win the game.
It was either Clark Atlanta or Carson Newman, one of the two, where we were sitting back here and we're like, how on God's green earth did she get her hand under that to save that dig? So yes, you're right. We'll see some of those plays from both sides tonight. Again, when it comes down to the chemistry aspect of it, both teams are well endowed to it. It's just going to be little things here or there that separate these two. And not only that, but in the blocking game too. It's not only a factor of whether you can kill the ball or change up the attack strategies to thwart the front court and take them out of the game.
Right.
It's also a strategic element to say, can you get the front court to mistime their jumps to where you can get the ball over their hands or on the side of their hands or underneath their hands to make them make a mistake and have the rest of their defensive core back them up. And there's a lot of different things that go into it. And when you take a look at it, it's going to be an extremely interesting aspect of today, because on the initial glance at it, you think, okay, Augusta has the more firepower up front. But again, it's not all about that. Emmanuel can develop strategies to thwart that. And again, you can also deke people to jump before you spike the ball or kill a ball or hit a soft float over. So there's different elements of strategy that comes into it, which is what makes this matchup so intriguingly great and fun to witness and be a part of.
Oh, no question. Another thing we're going to take a look at early in the game is errors. That's what we talked about just a second ago. Service errors, mishits, things of that nature. That's big early going. We got about 5 minutes to go before they start the opening ceremonies. Again, it's faculty night. Our Augusta ladies are going to be accompanied by faculty members that they idolize, that they've gotten to know over their time here. So we'll take a look at that, and we'll maybe even have some stories about our time at college. I know I've graduated now, so maybe we'll talk shoot the brakes a little bit as we get ready for this matchup between the Emmanuel Lions, which is about 2 hours away from here. It's in, I think, something Springs, Georgia. I looked it up earlier. It starts with an F, so Flower Springs maybe? That's it. Flower Springs, Georgia, about 2 hours from here. So they made the 2-hour trek up to Augusta for this matchup. Non-conference matchup, but should be great. 10-7 Emmanuel against 13-3 Augusta. We'll have the first serve for you in just a couple of minutes, so stay tuned. Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Christian Mary Fieldhouse. Jay Douglas, Blake Collins, getting you set for Augusta and Emmanuel. Great ceremony before the match with our Augusta Jaguars being brought to the court by their professors, faculty members. If I had to pick, it would be one of my media studies professors, Dr. Darren Overpeck, and I had him for 5 classes. If I had to choose anybody, it'd probably be him.
That's a very, very good person to elect to come out with what we both want to obtain our professional careers.
Right.
It's tricky for me because I had so many really well-rounded teachers that helped me out a lot.
Right.
Back in high school, I did the morning news show at Greenbrier, which is a local college here, or local high school here in Evans, and the head basketball coach,
right,
and an assistant football coach at the time allowed me to get on there and kind of a little bit make a fool of myself, but
I understand.
At the same time, enjoy it, be very professional about it, and that helped me, especially when I came over here and I talked to our boss about doing something like that, and it got started here. So Coach Dees especially helped me out tremendously in that aspect. There were a couple here from the acting coach, Doug Joyner, to a few more as the game gets on. I don't want to take away from the game much, but we'll talk about it more as we roll along here.
Well, sounds good, Blake. That's good stuff. Emmanuel has it, and a violation on Augusta, I believe. That they call. Couldn't tell they got in the net, but it's a net violation for Augusta. Emmanuel in the black to our right, serving right to left. Augusta in the white to our left.
Saw very good footwork out of the gate from both squads here. Emmanuel has really good footwork, and Augusta does a splendid job as well.
And Blair Bolton will get a kill there to tie the match up at 1. Oh, if I had to choose high school, I probably would have done one of my high school football coaches because I really bonded on the football team. But if we were going college professor, that's why I made that decision. Chloe Allen serving for Augusta. Emmanuel with Hardy to Woodruff is blocked back. Hardy will set it on the other side, and it's off the top of the block. Number 11, Mia Cotton with the swing there, and gets the point to the Lions. And the Lions will make a substitution. Coming in, number 9, Julie DeBlanc, who is their leading kill person heading into this game. Libero Asia Avery serving for the Lions. 2-1, Emmanuel in front. Gouveia plays it to Mackenzie Beck, who plays it to Gonzalez off the top of the block and out of play. Match is now tied at 2, and we're seeing those keys we talked about early. How is each team going to utilize the block and the size of the front court as Brian Garmos enters the game?
Well, that right there was just a smattering of an example as to why. Savannah knew that you had a height-driven person blocking. So what did she do? Take a little bit off of the kill and put it right where it would deflect off the side of the hand, and nobody there was able to pick up the front court on Emmanuel's side to back that up.
And as you say that, Julie DeBlanc goes a little soft touch over to pick up the kill, makes it 3-2 Emmanuel. Coming in is Nikki Kranig to serve, one of the seniors on this team. Gouveia for Garmos for Beck, plays it over, but it's dug out. Hardy sets it to Woodruff. It didn't get there, and Augusta's going to get the point. I wasn't sure if Augusta had violated there, but they did not, and they get the point to tie it back up at 3, trading points here in the early going as Alyssa Frazier comes in for the Jags.
I had some really good also communications professors as well coming in here. Rick Pukas, Matthew Bazell, and then also Dr. Amira was really instrumental in helping me kind of find and ground what I wanted to do and get me stronger in the aspects that I needed to push forward to doing that. I mean, from Bazell and Pook is teaching about editing and different things like that, and then Amira on the back end of it was more along the lines of what you and I are both wanting to do and be in front of the camera calling games,
right?
And hosting different sports shows. She was more kind of from an actress frame of mind, being more in front of the camera, as well as Bazell was too. So there's a lot of people that have helped me out to kind of help me progress to where I am and where we both want to be.
Well, Julie DeBlanc gets another kill, makes it 5-4. Augusta coming in, Gabby Gassetti. She'll serve for the Lions. Harlan Martin to Garmos for Frazier, rises up but is blocked back. Garmos back to Frazier, dug out by Avery. Gassetti for Gray, dug out by Gonzalez. Garmos, Beck, Avery for Hardy, over on 2. Good dig by Garmos. Martin keeps it up. It's still in play. DeBlanc outside and a point. It's still alive. Garmos able to save it. Hardy, Avery's got to send it over. Martin, Garmos for Hedrick. She's blocked back. It's DeBlanc and number 13, Jessica Gray, on the final point to tie it up at 5. There's one of those long rallies we alluded to earlier.
We talked about the consistent play, the tenacity, and the heart from both teams and how it would be shown here tonight, and you just saw a part of that. Really good dig there by Garmos, and how in the world she dug that out. We had one of those just there, and then Beck and the front court for the Jags come to life and help dig out a block in the front court that helped extend that play out.
Service error by Emmanuel gives the serve for Holland Martin. Gray, did it get over? Yes, it did. It landed on Augusta's side. So Gray uses that point to her advantage. Mia McKenzie comes back in, and Julie DeBlanc will serve for the Lions, tied up at 6 here in set number 1. Here's the serve. Gonzalez, Garmos for Beck off the top of the block. It's dug out, though, by Kranig. Set up to Gray again off the top of the block. Garmos comes to get it. Gonzalez will get there. Beck plays it over, dug out by DeBlanc. Hardy outside for Gray again. Garmos, Martin saves it, and it stays in play. Amazing. Hardy on 2. Garmos is there, though. Holland Martin for Mackenzie Beck, punches it over. Gassetti is there. Scramble at the net, and Augusta comes away with the point. I believe it was Chloe Allen or Alyssa Frazier who was able to win the tussle at the net. Makes it 7-6. Augusta. Blair Bolton re-enters for the Jags. Mackenzie Beck going to serve.
That was just phenomenal on the front court from Augusta, being vigilant, being very aggressive in the front court, and staying tenacious and blocking everything that comes their way.
Kranig will set it to Gray and able to get a kill. So Jessica Gray, a junior from Ball Ground, Georgia. And they will take out Nikki Kranig, and they'll bring in, I think, didn't catch the number. We'll get an update for you momentarily, but Hardy, the setter, is serving for the Lions, tied at 7.
Just 1 point on that last play. Gray with phenomenal vision there to see Allen was on the back of her heels and kind of stationary, so she kills it onto the other side to where Chloe Allen could not react fast enough. A good decision there by Gray and Emmanuel.
Well, Jessica Gray is one of their leading kill people, 190 coming into this match. They're trying to get her going early. Natalia Gouveia will serve as that Gray attempt hit the antenna and out of play. Here's Gouveia's serve. It's in the net. Service error. Ties the match up at 8. And Jenna Woodruff will re-enter the contest. Gassetti going out. They'll also bring in Caitlin Henderson. And going out is Gray. So Gray will get a breather.
You saw a physical error there by Natalia Gouveia. They've cut down on those drastically on the last 2 Peach Belt Conference sets, and look for them to minimize those physical errors forthcoming here within this matchup.
Chloe Allen utilizes the block to her advantage, gets a point, and now Gray comes back in. Mia McKenzie is in the game, and now a violation, or I guess they weren't ready. One of the referees was not ready, and so they put a stop to it. 9-8, Augusta in front. Set 1 has been back and forth to this point.
That's like when an umpire calls time in a baseball game and the pitcher releases the baseball. So little bit late on the call, but it doesn't harm anyone.
And a violation where on the Lions. I believe McKenzie was in the net. 10-8 in favor of the Jags. Jay Douglas, Blake Collins bringing you all the action tonight. Chloe Allen is serving for the Jags. Here is the serve. Woodruff for Hardy. Back row to Gray, dug out by Allen. Mackenzie Beck for Savannah Gonzalez. Dug out, but out of play. Gray could not get it. Makes it 11-8, and Augusta on a semi-run here. See if Emmanuel can stop the run on this point.
That was great placement there by Augusta. The attack was just within reach, but it was beyond the reach to a extent to where all the ball could do off of the dig attempt was venture out to where nobody could back up on the save to get it across back over to Augusta. So a very good precision on that attack to secure their 11th point.
Well, Jenna Woodruff picks up point number 9 for Emmanuel, and Julie DeBlanc comes back in. Avery serve. Gonzalez for Mackenzie Beck for Hedrick. Dug out by Hardy. Avery is there. Outside off the top of the block. Holland Martin saves it. Mackenzie Beck, back row, Gouveia, and she got the point. Gouveia not really known for her killing abilities, but she'll take it on that one. Mia Cotton, by the way, had the attempt for the Lions. That was dug out by Augusta. 12-9, Augusta in front. And Sharik Brian Garmos will serve for the Jags.
You're starting to see, too, that Emmanuel's defensive coverage is more on the corners and more in the back, leaving open defensive spots in the middle for Augusta to exploit. We'll see if that changes, but that's one direction that Augusta's seeing and exploiting like they did just there.
To your point, Garmos sees that opening, dumps it over on 2, makes it 13-9. So Augusta's used a 3-point run to get this lead, and they're trying to build on it. Emmanuel trying to close the gap. And that's something we've seen from Augusta all season long as Hardy plays it to DeBlanc. Dug out by Martin beautifully. Back over, and she is... Oh, I thought she was blocked by Hedrick. It landed on Augusta's side. Boy, that was going to be a, oh, no, you didn't, to Kimmy Mutombo right there, but it didn't work out.
Absolutely, but she did a really good job. Remember how we talked about the opening, timing of jumps, timing of everything in the front court. That time right there, Emmanuel College did extremely well with timing their jump with the front court of Augusta coming down. They went up, and it landed to where the block couldn't go anywhere else but down on Augusta's side.
Hedrick misses the kill attempt there, makes it 13-11. 2 quick points for the Lions as they try and get back into set number 1. Nikki Kranig is serving for the Lions. Serve is up. Gouveia for Garmos. Hedrick one more time. Will they be able to? It hits the rafter, still in play. Avery able to use that to her advantage, and Emmanuel will save the point because of it. Garmos for Gonzalez. She's blocked back. DeBlanc and Hardy. Boy, those banners. Man, basketball conference champion banners. Come on now. Saved Emmanuel a point there.
Very rarely do you say give an assist to a banner, but that's what happened right there. And not only that, but Emmanuel did use something out of the Augusta playbook and have like a stonewall type of block there to help them garner their 12th point.
Double touch on the block by Savannah Gonzalez at the net gives Augusta the 14-12 lead. And Alyssa Frazier re-enters the game as Gouveia goes out. Gonzalez serving, 14-12, Augusta in front.
Because when you have blocks that are so close together like that, it doesn't leave you much room to squeeze the ball in and usher in a point to where you normally would. So a good decision and good scouting right there by Emmanuel to get that point. But there again, Augusta just a little bit of indecision right there cost him.
Woodruff picks up the kill. Here's the serve from Gassetti. Gonzalez for Garmos to Hedrick. She's blocked by DeBlanc again. Hardy was also there, and the match is now tied at 14. Emmanuel coming all the way back, down by 4 early in this set. They tie it back up at 14, and Gassetti will continue the service game.
So you're seeing this from Augusta and Emmanuel's standpoint. For Augusta, It's more along the lines of taking an extra set, taking an extra transition to counteract the timing of Emmanuel, because their front court middle blockers, middle hitters, and outside attackers are doing extremely well in the timing of their blocks to get the maximum efficiency in their blocks, and it's going over and hurting Augusta.
Well, they get a kill from Gray right away to tie it back up at 15 after Gassetti missed the serve wide. DeBlanc, I believe, is serving for the Lions on this one. 15 apiece. Holland Martin for Garmos to Mackenzie Beck. Missed it. No touch. They haven't really gotten Beck going to this point. Trying to give her some opportunities right now. Emmanuel takes just their fourth lead, I believe, of this set. They led when we were back and forth early, but it's been a while. And DeBlanc will miss that one. Makes it 16 apiece, so Augusta says no more of that, at least for right now. Garmos exit. Blair Bolton enters, and Mackenzie Beck will serve. It's a big serve right here. You don't want to give them the lead with them going to serve. We'll see what Mackenzie offers up. It is going to be Hardy setting it to Mackenzie, and Mackenzie Beck digs it out, but Holland Martin won't run it down. It goes out of play. Point back to Emmanuel.
Now this is a pivotal point for Augusta because they've been on the back of their heels in the last 3 points to come out of this timeout strong. And not only that, but to utilize better footwork and better awareness on the court, which we've seen them do, which we've seen them actually come out and be more aggressive and be more sure-footed about things. And right now, Emmanuel is taking really good advantage of indecision, not as good a footwork as we've seen from Augusta, and they're exploiting it where Emmanuel can get the points on offense. So look for Augusta to come out of this timeout, circumvent the momentum aspect, because if Emmanuel goes on a run here, they can explode out of this and shoot for 3 or 4 consecutive points. So look for Augusta to come out with a different vantage point, with a little bit more speed, a little bit better footwork, and try to stifle the run that Emmanuel is trying to push on Augusta.
Well, Coach Quarles, sensing that the set was going to get out of hand, she takes the timeout. Julie DeBlanc and Jessica Gray lead the Lions with 3 kills apiece. Augusta led by Savannah Gonzalez with 3. Everybody else has at least 1. Gonzalez the only one with multiple kills. Mackenzie Beck sets it for Gonzalez. It's dug out by Hardy. Mackenzie at the net and found the back part of the court for a kill. 18-16 in favor of Emmanuel College.
That's what happens. It'll come back to bite you every time when you have everyone but your libero back in the backcourt on the defensive lines. When you see that, what do? Just float it over everybody and cinch it in for your 19th point. It's a great decision there by Emmanuel to do that, and now they are, like we said earlier, they're on a run, and they look to push this and capture the first set.
Well, Gray got a block there. Mackenzie Beck sets it for Gonzalez. Dug out by Hardy. Avery is there, and it's dug out by Mackenzie Beck as Cotton took a swing at it. Frazier, Avery gets to it. Hardy comes to get it. Jessica Gray is there. Dug out by Frazier. Chloe Allen tried to punch it over. Hardy, middle. Mackenzie dumps it over. Mackenzie Beck, and it may have gone out, but Gassetti touched it, and the point will go to the Jags, makes it 19-17. Natalia Gouveia re-enters the game. Alyssa Frazier going out, and Gouveia has a big surface right here to try and get Augusta back into this first set.
James Fiddle, the head coach for Emmanuel, did something really good coming out of that timeout. You notice now that Emmanuel is patrolling more in the middle and leaving open the edges and leaving open more of the backcourt in the edges, and that's working to perfection for them because it's not allowing Augusta to emphasize attacks in the middle, and they're having to try to be more accurate, and they're failing to do so right now.
Well, Jessica Gray is taking it upon herself to put the first set away. She gets another kill right there. It's going to be number 16, Caitlin Henderson serving for the Lions. 20-17 in favor of Emmanuel. coming back from that 13-9 deficit earlier here in set one. Here's the serve from Henderson. Holland Martin for Mackenzie Beck to Savannah Gonzalez. She's blocked. Holland Martin, Mackenzie Beck, Chloe Allen. Dug out by Henderson. Hardy for Cotton, but violation in the middle, a net violation, I believe. Makes it 20-18. Augusta will take it. Jessica Gray coming back in. She was out on that rotation.
And right now, James, we were wondering coming out of that timeout how Augusta would respond. They seem to be in more discombobulation right now when they came out because they're not covering the holes that they normally would cover up, and it's shooting Emmanuel out to a major lead here, 3 points ahead of Augusta here in this first set.
Well, Mia McKenzie gets that kill, makes it 21-18. Coach Quarles has a timeout left. We'll see when she uses it. Hedrick is blocked to blank once again. The 6'1 senior from Copenhagen, Denmark. That's right. She is from overseas, but she is showing her skills. Looked like Woodruff was also in the area. 22-18 in favor of Emmanuel, and Asia Avery, the libero, is serving.
The last set of 5 points, Emmanuel has been absolutely phenomenal on the timing of their blocks and emphasizing the trajectory off of their blocks to get the maximum ability to score their points off of it. It has been a killer for Augusta to try to circumvent that because they have not been able to do it the past 5 points.
Jessica Hedrick picks up a kill on the soft touch. Sharik Brian Garmos comes in. 22-19 in favor of the Lions. Augusta trying to battle back. Need to go on a run here. See if Garmos can put something together. It's going to be Hardy just playing it over. Hedrick for Garmos, a free point. Mackenzie Beck cannot take advantage. Hardy for DeBlank. She'll take advantage and take the kill. 23-19. Well, Augusta had an opportunity, could not take advantage. And Coach Coyle's not calling a timeout. She's going to try and ride it out. And now she will spend it. Nikki Kranig will be the server when we get back to action. 23-19 in favor of Emmanuel College. They're trying to wrap up set number one. They trailed early, but they lead late. We'll see what happens after this timeout. Welcome back to the Christian Barry Fieldhouse. 23-19 in favor of Emmanuel. Julie DeBlanc and Jessica Gray lead the Lions 4 kills apiece. Mia McKenzie with 3 of them. Jessica Hedrick with 2 kills. Savannah Gonzalez with 3. Beck, Allen, Bolton, Gouveia, and Brian Garmos all with 1 for the Jags. Kranig serving. Gouveia, Garmos. Gonzalez is blocked. Garmos digs it out though. Gouveia, Gonzalez again. Dug out by the Lions. Hardy for DeBlanc. She's blocked. Garmos is there. Gouveia will set it to Mackenzie Beck. Over the block. Hardy for DeBlanc. Garmos will get the Holland Martin dig. Gonzalez. And she gets the kill finally. So Jessica Gray is playing the back row in this rotation. She had some pretty good digs in that point, but when it came down to it, Gonzalez got the kill to make it 23-20. Gonzalez will now serve in a big service game right here to try and keep Augusta in it.
See if they can shoot off to a little bit of a run here because they really need the momentum back on their side.
Well, Alyssa Frazier blocks it solo, makes it 23-21. And Emmanuel will call a timeout. Coach James Friddle will call the timeout. He's got 1 left. His team leads by 2 here in set number 1.
Now, before that last timeout, Emmanuel came in and claimed the court on their front court, saying, yeah, Augusta's got a really strong front court, but we've got an even better front court, and it has been imposing for Augusta to try to be able to try to work their way around, navigate through that with their blocking being in sync, in control, and timing everything out just right to get the desired effect out of it and penetrate for about 6 or 7 of these 23 points that they've got here as of the last 10 points. So they've been really well. Augusta, though, just came back and responded very well. We'll see if that takes control here.
23-21 out of the timeout. Avery for Hardy for DeBlank. She is blocked. Frazier and Hedrick. 23-22. Augusta trying to fight back.
This is like two Titans going at it. This going toe-to-toe in the battle of gladiators.
DeBlank is blocked, but out of play. And the set point will go to Emmanuel. Jenna Woodruff will serve for the set. Again, Augusta led 13-9 early, but Emmanuel got on a late run. Let's see where Woodruff tries to go here. She'll go to Gonzalez, who gives it to Garmos, who goes to Frazier. Avery is there, though. Hardy for Gray. Martin is there. Garmos for Frazier. Dug out over Mackenzie Beck. Garmos is there. Holland Martin. Frazier punches it over and got it. So Augusta saves the set as of right now, but they got to get a point here on their serve. Holland Martin's going to serve as Chloe Allen enters the game, and Emmanuel will call their final timeout. Lions leading 24-23 in set one.
One thing to point out here, Augusta had their best footwork of the set outside of the first 10 points on this point coming out of the timeout that they've had up until the final points outside of the first 10 that they've had this set. Very good. Continue to do that. Continue to work your feet, work your eyes, and set up different points coming into the game, because right now it's not only nail-biting time, but it's a crucial time to make a statement on your home court saying you are not going down like this.
Well, Holland Martin's got to try and keep the set alive. Augusta down by 1, 24-23. Here's the Martin serve. She gets it in play. Hardy. They go to DeBlank, and it works. They called it off the block in favor of Emmanuel. Emmanuel takes set number 1, 25-23. They trailed early, but they were able to fight back and take set number 1. The teams now switch sides, and set number 2 is coming your way in just a couple of minutes. Emmanuel 25-23 in set 1. We're back with set number 2 in just a couple of minutes. We're back here at the Christian Berry Fieldhouse. J. Douglas, Blake Collins getting set for set number 2. In set number 1 for both teams, hitting percentage 213 for Emmanuel, 102 for Augusta. 17 kills for Emmanuel, 12 for Augusta. Both teams with 7 attack errors. The service errors, that favored Augusta, but they trail by 5 in the dig department, 25-20. So a virtually even set, which the 25-23 score does reflect, but just the Augusta run and the Emmanuel run, it came at 2 different points, and unfortunately the Emmanuel late run got them to set number 1.
And it was 2 different teams out of those 2 different points. Like Augusta came out attacking on all cylinders in the first. Emmanuel was back on their heels. Then later on, Emmanuel rose to the occasion, was a different team, and Augusta found themselves retreating back into a defensive mindset and not being able to capitalize and be able to trounce the offensive attack of Emmanuel. The first set was literally one of the best ways I can describe this is like Superman going up against Darkseid, or you have Captain Marvel going up against Galactus, or Captain America going up against Thanos. The trench work here has been phenomenal. The front court for both sides have been a major deciding factor up until this point in the matchup, with both front courts making their marks, penetrating, and being able to emphatically change the game when the time calls for it. We'll see if that continues on in set 2, in set 3, and if we go any further than that. But Augusta, minor adjustments coming out. We'll see if they make them, and we'll see if they can spring out to a run here, and for Emmanuel, just continue playing your game.
Mackenzie Beck will have the first opportunity. Chloe Allen will have the kill to make it 1-0 Jags. Teams have switched sides. Emmanuel in the black to our left, Augusta in the white to our right. Alyssa Frazier goes out, Natalia Gouveia comes in. By the way, Caitlin Henderson started for Emmanuel, and she had that serve, but Augusta was able to use the offense to their advantage, and Natalia Gouveia will now see if she can build on that with her service game. The lefty with the serve. Avery for Hardy. They'll go to McKenzie in the middle. Dug out by Holland Martin. Mackenzie Beck. Chloe Allen. But a violation, I believe. Yes, they called Allen in the net.
Yeah, I believe that they did. She's a little bit too close there. And
well, see, what's funny is you hold up a 1 and a 5. That could be number 6, or it could be Savannah Gonzalez. So that's why I was thrown for a moment. Mackenzie Beck will set it to Gonzalez off the block, and it works out. But continue what you were saying about that misplay on the net violation.
Well, thank goodness it didn't cost Augusta any more points than what it did. But yeah, just a minor mental mistake there by Chloe Allen to do that. And the thing is, she's been really good up at the net, so you don't count that against her as much, especially when it didn't haunt her team that much, but just a little bit of an indecision there.
That's a kill for, Mia Cotton on that one, as that went off the block and out of play, ties the matchup or the setup at 2. The match is at 1-0 in favor of Emmanuel. Number 5, Nikki Kranig, is in to serve for the Lions. Holland Martin for Mackenzie Beck for Savannah Gonzalez. Dug out by Woodruff. Hardy sets it for DeBlanc, and out of play. Good job by Gouveia to gauge where it was going to land, not touch it, and give her team the 3-2 lead.
Phenomenal read there by Gouveia off a really good decision there by DeBlanc. She saw the majority of Augusta up front, so she just punches it back on the backcourt, hoping it would land inside. Just a little bit softer, it might have, but a very good read by Gouveia to scout that out.
That's too many touches for Emmanuel, as the push serve by Garmos got the Lions off balance and they couldn't save it. Augusta goes up 4-2 here in set 2. Garmos going to continue her serve. Let's see if she goes with the push serve again. No, it's a hard one. Gray for Hardy for DeBlanc off of Hedrick, but Gonzalez could not save it. And the point back to Emmanuel, 4-3, Augusta in front in set 2. Woodruff goes out, and Gassetti comes in.
That time Emmanuel says, we're coming in here, and we are going to own this court. The front court, both front courts have been tremendous powerhouses for both squads, going toe-to-toe against each other. That time Emmanuel just squeezes out the victory up front.
DeBlanc plays it over. Hedrick is there. Garmos will set it back to Hedrick. She's blocked. Garmos is there. Gouveia back set for Gonzalez. She is blocked, but they catch a break as it goes out of play. Hardy and DeBlanc were on the tandem, but they pushed it out of play, and Augusta will get the point to make it 5-3. Alyssa Frazier in. Gonzalez serving for the Jags at 5-3. Like I said, down 1-0. Kranig on the overplay, and it's killed right back by Hedrick. She won't have one easier than that tonight. 6-3 Augusta.
Five players up in the front court to one in the back court. Just get it beyond the defensive setter where you've got a ton of real estate to work with, and she did just that. She didn't try to punch it too hard. She just did what she had to do, and now Augusta's ahead by 3.
DeBlanc is blocked, but out of play, makes it 6-4. Avery leaves. Mia McKenzie comes in, and Julie DeBlanc will serve. 6-4 in favor of Augusta here in set 2. Emmanuel won set number 1, 25-23. Here's the DeBlanc serve. Wide and out of play. Good job by Gonzalez to know it was going out and not play it to give her team the 7-4 advantage.
That's one thing for Augusta that's been consistent all year long, is their reads are phenomenal when it comes to judging out of bounds on either side and in the backcourt. They've been phenomenal at doing that all year long.
Gray is blocked, and it can't be saved. Hardy and Gray tried to save it, but they could not. Makes it 8-4 Augusta. Holland Martin on the serve for your Jags, trying to climb back into this match, tie it up at a set apiece. Here's the Holland Martin serve. Gassetti, and Hardy could not save it. Makes it 9-4. Augusta's rattled off 2 or 3 in a row, trying to maybe extend on what they did in set 1, getting out to that early lead and hoping that it would hold up. Kranig, Hardy for Gray, dug out by Frazier. Allen kills it. Frazier and Garmos able to save the point, and Allen says, thank you very much. I'll take advantage of that. And Coach James Friddle wants timeout with his team down 10-4 here in set 2. Augusta trying to tie the match up. You talk about, this is just going to be a little comedic session right here.
Right.
You talk about two titans, and you reference comic book characters.
Right.
Well, why not UFC 229 with Khabib Nurmagomedov against Conor McGregor? What we're going to see this Saturday.
My goodness.
That's coming up.
You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. McGregor with those fast punches, the duck neck speed that he has.
And his octagon return, he claims he's the king.
Yeah.
And I read this article earlier in the week. I think he was wrongfully stripped of his titles. He has every right to have the featherweight title and the lightweight title. And for him to be stripped just because he wants to fight Mayweather, that's wrong by Dana White.
That is true, but look at the outset though. That might have been also because of what he did on that bus.
But that was
UFC
after
fighters.
that, though. We'll continue that later, but
absolutely.
I just wanted to throw that out there. You talk about a fight between titans.
You're absolutely right on that.
Back to volleyball here, folks. We'll put the UFC talk on hold as Alyssa Frazier misses that one. She got it over the block of Hardy and McKenzie, but missed it long, makes it 10-5.
Well, that right there is just as what Chloe Allen just did before that timeout. Wasn't necessarily a good setup, but she took charge of it, took it, and made something positive happening out of it. That's the same thing that happened there for Augusta, and then coming out of that, just what you saw there with a miss serve by
Hardy
Emmanuel.
misses the serve, gets the point right back to Augusta. Mackenzie Beck's going to serve for the Jags. Blair Bolton in the game for the Jags. 11-5 Augusta in front. Gray sets it for Gassetti. Back to Gray. Couldn't get it over. And she stumbled a little bit on her plant. Doesn't seem to be any worse for the wear. Makes it 12-5 Augusta in front.
Well, it's like too with us talking a little bit about the USC stuff. You can incorporate elements from that and elements from volleyball, like the footwork. We talk all the time about how vital footwork is
Absolutely.
to the volleyball court. Well, it's just as it's good in the USC game as it is in there, because ducking, moving, sticking around.
Right.
Same thing in volleyball. Defending, trying to cover up defensive holes that you see for the other team trying to exploit. It's not, it works around the same vices and the same things that you're trying to do to be able to gain victory on both sides.
Well, Jessica Gray is a woman possessed tonight. She has had a lot of kill opportunities. She gets another one right there, makes it 13-6. You know, it's talked about how you take mentalities from all sports and use them in the sport you're playing. So as you talk about, you're taking a fighting type mentality and saying, okay, we need to fix our footwork, or we need to fix our focus.
Right.
And then you talk about attacking. Well, in football, you know, it's being aggressive.
Right.
Volleyball, you can be aggressive just the same.
Right. And from the outset this year,
Augusta will come away with that long rally. Makes it 14-6. And there are the aspects right there. Good defense, setting up your offense. I mean, we could go on and on about utilizing each sport to volleyball.
Well, we've hinted at this all year long too, especially on the defensive outset of it. You can be in a defensive set, but be in an offensive attack mentality on the defense. That sets you up for scouting. That sets you up for deception and eye movement. Sets you up for different things to open up different holes for you in volleyball to exploit. So from that standpoint, yes, the different mentalities and different, and not just in that aspect, but this is just one aspect we're talking about. The different mentalities in the different sports help you out there too. Like, okay, another example.
Yeah.
The UFC and volleyball thing.
Right.
Okay, when you're going into UFC and you're throwing blows,
right,
you want to come down hard. You want to come down fast.
Absolutely.
Same thing in volleyball. When you come up and when you're going for an attack on a kill, your hand motion is coming from the top down. You have more speed coming down. That way you get more velocity on that from the lever and fulcrum standpoint of you get more velocity coming out of it. So those different things and those different aspects like that help out a lot in various sports that you compete in, and that's why you hear all the time too, especially with some of the experts that go into baseball. They always say to be the best well-rounded athlete, play as many sports as you can. Because that way your endurance stays sharp, your mind stays incredibly sharp-witted and sharp-minded, and you can take different facets from different games to infuse into your own to help you become the best player you can possibly be.
Well, we've been shooting the breaks here, folks. Augusta is up 16-6.
Yeah.
They Emmanuel takes that final timeout of this set. Julie DeBlank still leads the Lions with 8 kills. Jessica Gray with 5 kills. Mia Cotton and Mia McKenzie both with 3. And Natalia Gouveia gets set to serve. Augusta trying to run away with set number 2. Savannah Gonzalez with 6. Chloe Allen with 4. Jessica Hedrick with 3. Going to be interesting final couple points here. Gouveia still serving. It's going to be Cotton, and she'll utilize the block to her advantage. So Emmanuel is now out of timeouts. Augusta has both of theirs. And we'll see if Emmanuel can maybe put the pressure on Augusta like it was flipped in set number 1 as Asia Avery goes back to serve. Jay Douglas, Blake Collins giving you all the action.
Coming out of that timeout and going forward, for Emmanuel, it comes around not only the blocking ability that they so effortlessly executed in the first set, but their footwork is died back down. You want to see them try to pick that up and be able to cut off some of the open and gaping defensive holes that Augusta is exploiting. Now Augusta too, we've seen this before. We've seen to where, yeah, they get behind, they come roaring back, but they've also done something to this effect too, to where they've settled down into a groove. They simmered under the wings, and then when the time is right, attack, explode, fiercely come out in the open and take sets in demanding fashion. And that is what you're seeing right now with Augusta up by 11
Make
here.
it 12 as DeBlanc misses. Jessica Hedrick had a block, and Blair Bolton had a kill to get Augusta to, well, actually they called a touch on that. I do apologize. Makes it 18-8. I apologize. Augusta touched it before it went out. Must have hit off the top of the block. Nikki Koenig will serve. Gonzalez for Mackenzie Beck to Gonzalez again. Hardy for DeBlanc off the block. Beck is there. Gouveia comes to get it. Gonzalez, she will get the kill, yes. Avery tried to dig it out, but Emmanuel couldn't save it overall, makes it 19-8.
And that's what we were talking about, the motion coming down, power from the hand with also precision coming through and placing it to a point to where, yeah, you can get it and you can try to dig it out, but you're going to put it in a place to where if you dig it out, it's going to go sideways. It's going to deflect off in an awkward position and then pray that you have somebody there to back you up. And Emmanuel there did not have that afforded to them to where Augusta has their 20th point on the board.
Mackenzie Beck gets the kill off the block and out of play, makes it 20-8. So Augusta rolling here in set number 2 after dropping set number 1. Avery for Hardy. That is Hallie Richardson who's come in. And a kill for Stephanie Hardy, the setter. So they've brought in Hallie Richardson getting her first action. As I say that, she leaves, and Gabby Gassetti comes in for the Lions. 20-9, Augusta comfortably in front, but you need to put them away when you have them down. Cannot let Emmanuel get on a run here.
And right there, we talk about how reads are very critical in the game of volleyball. Right there, a delayed read by 4 different Augusta players came back to bite them.
Well, Julie DeBlanc says not in my house, makes it 20-10. That block game for Emmanuel has been strong these first 2 sets. We got to see if Coach Quarles makes an adjustment. Now, it's been a somewhat controlling set for Augusta, but you got to take that block into consideration as we go forward. Avery sets it for DeBlanc. She's blocked back. Hardy for Gray. Gouveia will dig it out. Garmos sets it for Gonzalez. Gassetti with a beautiful dig. Hardy for DeBlanc. There's a kill for the Lions. Makes it 22-11. And I believe that makes 3 straight points for the Lions. Maybe just 2. But it's 22-11. It's back to single digits. And Emmanuel trying to seize the momentum.
You can see the tides turning, though. Emmanuel is coming up with more grit, more tenacity, more fight, and more vigor, where Augusta right now is kind of in search of finding that fire that they once had within the first 15 points of the set here.
Well, there's Hedrick says, there's your fire. I'll take that kill. Makes it 21-11. Hedrick will stay in. Gouveia going out, and Alyssa Frazier coming in. Savannah Gonzalez is serving. 21-11. Gassetti to DeBlanc, and the soft kill got the job done. Makes it 21-12. Augusta couldn't save it. Mia McKenzie coming in, Asia Avery going out, and Julie DeBlanc will serve for the Lions. 21-12, Augusta in front.
You want to talk about phenomenal execution. DeBlanc just proves it right there. She started like she was going for a tremendously high-powered kill.
And there's the ace to back it up, Blake.
And then comes right back with, in midair, adjust to a soft touch over, and then to follow that up, coming all... We always talk about 5 tools and what each individual tool has. Right there, DeBlanc showed you 3 tools that she executed flawlessly to pick up 2 points for Emmanuel.
Well, they call the touch. I didn't think there was a touch, but they call a touch on Augusta. Jessica Gray will get another kill, and 3 straight points rattled off for the Lions. Makes it 21-14. DeBlanc continues to serve. Gonzalez for Garmos, for Hedrick, dug out by DeBlanc. McKenzie got to it, Gonzalez for Garmos to Hedrick on the slide play, gets it done, makes it 22-14. Augusta says, let's restore a little bit of order, makes it 22-14. Chloe Allen in, and Holland Martin serving for the Jags, trying to close out set number 2 and tie the match up.
It is difficult to have that much precision on a kill when you know you've got to detonate in a certain spot. And what makes matters even worse is that spot could have been taken up by the fact that Emmanuel had a player in a dig position and a diving player right in front of her. So you had to kind of double set on that to try to detonate well before that. So there was a difficult decision there by Augusta that was executed brilliantly to get their 22nd on the board.
That would have been an amazing point if it had stayed in, but it did not. 22-15, Augusta in front. Frazier dug out by Cotton, gives it to Gray. Garmos digs it out at the net, and that's Gray getting the kill, makes it 22-16. So it's getting a little too close for comfort if you're Augusta. Got to try and get a point. You want to try and trade because at this point you're not really threatened to be taken over. You just cannot allow these runs, and that's going to help with Stephanie Hardy getting the service error, makes it 23-16. Blair Bolton enters the game for Augusta.
Right. It's like you said, you want to go Evander Holyfield, Buster Douglas type of trading, shot by shot and blow for blow, because you don't want any team to get the momentum and string together runs to put you down. And for Emmanuel here to come back and take this second set, Augusta's looking to tie this set.
Augusta is doing a great job defensively. Holland Martin with another beautiful dig. Savannah Gonzalez, Avery for Hardy, for Cotton, got it in there. So Augusta with some great defense from Mackenzie Beck to Holland Martin to Savannah Gonzalez. All three ladies laying it all on the line, but at the end of the day, Emmanuel comes away with the point, makes it 23-17.
My goodness, the tenacity coming out of the Lions right now. As you touched on it, brilliant defensive work from Augusta by Beck, Gonzalez, and a couple of other seniors on the squad. But they will not die. And that speaks to the attrition, that speaks to the chemistry we talked about earlier, that speaks to the heart of the Lions. Say, hey, we may be down by 10 at one point, but we're going to come back and make this a darn fight to the finish. And Augusta is 1 point away right now from capturing the set, but don't think Emmanuel is down and out just yet.
Natalia Gouveia will try and give Augusta the set, makes it 24-17 off the out-of-bounds hit, and Gouveia will serve it out, makes it 24-18, so Emmanuel lives to see another point. Julie DeBlanc enters. Asia Avery serving. Emmanuel down by 6, but it is set point. Let's see what Augusta goes with on this return. Let's see who they try and get it to. Beck is at setter position, so they'll have to go to somebody else. Beck will give it to Blair Bolton, who they call a touch. They call a touch, and Augusta will take set number 2. Makes it 25-18, and the match is tied at 1. Augusta winning set number 2, 25-18.
So now you're back to square one. Forget about the first set. Forget about the second set for both squads, respectively. Concentrate on this third set. But for Augusta, don't think their leadership is not going to step up here and talk to them and lead this squad back to playing their type of game, because Emmanuel has shown real good fight, real good tenacity, and real good grit to not falter here, come back firing, and they have shown that they can hang with Augusta. So it's not only is it from good play from Augusta that allowed them to take the second set, but now the leadership for Augusta has to come up, rise to the occasion, step up and say, hey, look, don't worry about the first set. Don't worry about the second set. This is our time. Bring up different type of chemistry aspects to their team and get the girls fired back up. Get the girls charging back on all cylinders. Strike when the iron is hot, like Emmanuel has done the past 2 sets. For 1, to make the second set a contest, and two, to capture the first set. So don't think the leadership will not step up here. The senior leadership won't step up here for Augusta and try to iron out the kinks and try to help Augusta prevail in tighter contests as we move forward and redirect the Augusta team back into playing their style of game. Now, if you're Emmanuel, you love your tenacity, you love your grit, you love your fire. Continue the great footwork we saw in the second set at the back end of it. The reads are going very well. You've kind of switched up defensive angles as opposed to guarding the edges and guarding the back into guarding the middle. Infuse a little bit of both here. Mix up different attack angles, and you'll be good to go. It works out to make a phenomenal third set here, James, because right now we're back to square one. Both teams are dead even.
No question, and we're going to talk exclusively about volleyball.
Right.
The other sport talk is done for now. We apologize, but I had to just bring that up because we talked about Titans. I just had to fit it in there. Didn't think we would have a good 5-minute conversation while the action is going on. But folks, if you're just joining us, there will be no more sport talk, any other sport other than volleyball. We will focus on volleyball only as we start the third set. Match tied at 1. Emmanuel won the first set 25-23. Augusta came back to win set 2 25-18. Jay Douglas, Blake Collins bringing you all the action. As we start set 3, Julie DeBlanc with 11 kills for Emmanuel, Jessa Gray with 8, Mia Cotton with 5, and Mia McKenzie with 3. Augusta, Savannah Gonzalez 7, Jessica Hedrick 5, Chloe Allen 4, Blair Bolton 3, Mackenzie Beck and Alyssa Frazier 2. Teams have switched sides. Augusta in the white to our left, Emmanuel in the black to our right. We'll see who has the first serve here in set number 3, as the winner of this set will take a 2-1 lead and be that much closer to winning the match.
And again, we don't want to undersell it or keep harping on it, but the front court for both sides is going to be pivotal in this set to see who takes control of the set tallies here, because as you look at it, both front courts have had their time of emphasis to come out strong and attack very well.
Well, Emmanuel goes right to Jessica Gray. She's not leading in the stat column, but it seems like every time she's had an opportunity, she's taking advantage of it. She does so again, makes it 1-0 in favor of Emmanuel. She'll go back to serve.
Her and DeBlanc as well have been two major players in this comeback for the Lions, especially after taking the first set in a grueling battle.
Well, Avery could not save that one on the return from Chloe Allen. Natalia Gouveia enters the contest for Augusta to serve. It's 1-1 in set 3. Avery for Hardy for Woodruff had to adjust, and it worked. Her adjusting caught Augusta off guard, and they could not adjust. Emmanuel takes a 2-1 lead.
She hit it at the right spot to where she knew if she could get it at the top of the net, kind of hit off the top of the net, allow the net to assist her and redirect the flight of the ball, it would send Augusta sprawling, and Holland Martin did all she could, but she could not respond fast enough.
That was a heck of an attempt from Gonzalez. They go to Blair Bolton this time, and it splits Avery and Gray at the back to make it 2-2. And these sets have started off the same each time. It's back and forth early. One team gets on a run and ultimately wins the set. We'll see what the rest of the set has in store for us.
Oh, absolutely.
Chloe Allen serving for Augusta. Into the net, service error makes it 3-2 Emmanuel. Jay Douglas, Blake Collins here on this Tuesday evening, the first Tuesday in October. That's right, it's October 2nd.
Natalia's had a couple of miscues in the serve game, which you really do not see from her that often. She'll look to get that under wraps as the game goes on when she gets back into the game. But
well, Blair Bolton says, I got you. You know, you make a service error, don't worry, I'll pick you up. Makes it 3-3.
Well, she also has a unique serve of her own too.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've talked about it. We've talked about it in the past, where she comes up, she has another long serve up and release and jump and shoots it back home very hard to the other side. So she's got a really good serve as well.
Double touch on the setter, Hardy. Violation will give the point to the Jags, makes it 4-3. Sharik Brian Garmos is doing the serving for Augusta. 4-3, Jags in front. We are tied at 1 set apiece. That is in. Avery didn't judge it that well, and that'll be an ace for Garmos. Nikki Kranig tried to get over to cover, but it was too late. Makes it 5-3, Augusta in front.
On low line drives like that, it is extremely difficult to judge where it's going to hit. And when she did kind of have an idea of where, she just reacted way too late to even try to have a chance at digging that out.
Gonzalez is blocked. It is still alive. Beck plays it over. Hardy out to Woodruff. She is blocked, but it goes out of play. Mackenzie Beck a little frustrated that did not turn out better for her. Makes it 5-4. Woodruff out. Gabby Gassetti in to serve for the Lions.
We talk about the deception that you can cause with your eyes and your footwork. They kind of fooled me a little bit, because I thought they were going to go to the blank, who was setting up to go on a kill. Instead, they went on the near side, and it worked out better for the Lions on that last exchange.
Well, the Jags come right back to get a point, making it 6-4. Savannah Gonzalez will serve for the Jaguars. Hardy to DeBlank. She is blocked back. It's the tandem of Hedrick and Frazier, making it 7-4 in favor of Augusta. Savannah Gonzalez continues to serve. Here's the run that we might be seeing in set number 3. It belongs to Augusta right now, up by 3. Hardy to DeBlank. Garmos trying to, and she found, I don't know where that one was going to go out or in, but Gassetti got over there to try and save it, could not. Makes it 8-4. Good idea by Garmos, and it worked out for Augusta, making it 8-4.
Well, Garmos pitted Emmanuel's aggressiveness against Emmanuel right there, trying to go after it, because it looked as if, and again, it was a little bit difficult to judge, but it did look as if it had enough to go out. So she pitted their aggressiveness against the Lions, and it paid off in a major way for the Jags.
9-4 in favor of Augusta as Emmanuel will spin the timeout. And these opportunities for Augusta to maybe, like you're saying, everybody's up at the front to find the back part of the court and to put it in the right spot to get those points that maybe Emmanuel's like, that shouldn't happen, but Augusta will definitely take it, and it results in a 5-point lead right now, 9-4 in set number 3.
Well, and we've already seen Emmanuel make a major adjustment, because remember, in the first set we pointed out that they were guarding the edges. They were guarding the out-of-bounds lines. They made an adjustment about middle to late first set to guard the middle, and it paid off for them in a big league type of way. So they can make adjustments coming out of the timeout and really put on a good run. So now it depends on what type of adjustments they make, but then it will be up to Augusta to end the game. Get your mind cooking and figure out the strategy to circumvent their adjustments that Emmanuel has made.
Coming out of that timeout, Jay Douglas, Blake Collins here with you. Gonzalez serving. Hardy comes to get it for Gray. Blocked back. Gassetti digs it out. That was a little bit of a miscommunication, and Mackenzie Beck will take advantage to make it 10-4. Nikki Krenig was the one that played it over, but it looked like Hardy wanted to take it. And Augusta will take advantage.
Yeah, Gassetti right there, the defensive setter, kind of got caught in between a rock and a hard place on the back of her heels and could not get back on the balls of her feet to try to get underneath and dig that ball out.
Holland Martin to Mackenzie Beck off the block. Avery for Hardy to DeBlank. Dug out by Holland Martin. Garmos, does she stay out of the net? She does beautifully. Avery digs out the Mackenzie Beck attempt. That is blocked. Still alive. Emmanuel goes to DeBlank, and it's going to result in a point for the Lions. Hallie Richardson back in the lineup. She had that first kill attempt that didn't materialize in anything. Emmanuel makes it 10-5. Avery is out. McKenzie is in. And DeBlanc will serve at 10-5 here in set number 3. The winner of this set will take the 2-1 lead. And ace, yes. Gonzalez a little bit indecisive, and DeBlanc. So an ace for the Lions makes it 10-6. Gonzalez for Garmos to Frazier, dug out by Gassetti. Hardy for McKenzie, and it worked. Got it between Frazier and Hedrick to make it 10-7. So the run by Augusta being countered here by Emmanuel, trying to get back in this set 3.
They've done a really good job at that because they've bolstered up here about 3 consecutive points. And the thing is, when not only is it about the points, but it's also about the confidence you build while creating those points and saying, okay, you almost feel like Superwoman in a sense that you can cover more ground, and you know your players are going to be there to pick you up. So from that confidence aspect, to be able to come back like they have been doing is a phenomenal thing for Emmanuel to continue to build off of and continue to strike while the fire is hot and continue to take it to Augusta.
Well, Mackenzie Beck gets a kill. Back-to-back points for the Jags. Alyssa Frazier had a kill before that. 12-8 in favor of the Jags. Mackenzie Beck is serving for the Jags. Blair Bolton into the rotation. Beck serve. Richardson gets it in the middle for Cotton, and out of play, no touch. 13-8. Augusta goes in front by 5, trying to lengthen their lead and put away set number 3.
That shows you how consequential reads can be, because it's a split-second decision, and with a rifle like that coming out of the hands of Emmanuel, it's a split-second decision as of a bad read or a good read, and what can harm your team and not. So a good read by Augusta there to let that ball land out of bounds and continue the stretch here.
Alyssa Frazier picks up the kill. Back to action. Richardson is blocked. Gassetti digs it out. Avery for Cotton. She is blocked. Frazier tried to save it, but could not. Makes it 14-9 in favor of Augusta here in set 3. Emmanuel will make a substitution. Jenna Woodruff coming in, as is Caitlin Henderson. Henderson will serve for the Lions, down by 5. Gets instructions from her head coach. And we're ready to go here. Here's the serve. Gonzalez, Beck, outside Allen, dug out by Henderson. Set up to Woodruff, dug out by Holland Martin. Mackenzie Beck for Chloe Allen. And long, no touch. Emmanuel will get the point and continue the serve. 14-10 as they bust into the double-digit threshold. Caitlin Henderson, one of the freshmen on this team. Here's the serve. It comes to Gonzalez, who gives it to Mackenzie Beck, who gives it to Blair Bolton. Avery able to dig it out. Hardy for Cotton. Did she miss it? What's the call? They give it to Augusta. I thought there may have been a touch, but none provided. Took them a while to make the call, but they all conference and say that the point goes to the Jags. 15-10, Jags in front.
And that's a huge break for the Jags, too, because Emmanuel set that up really well to have the Jags defense dead to rights on that, because you had 5 Jags on one side of the court. What do? Start on this side, set it up, shoot it over to the other side, and then come back to the side that they initially dug that ball out, where all the Jags were on the far side. They came back to the near side and almost exploited the Jags for a point there. A great decision by Emmanuel, just a little bit off on the execution that they wanted.
Woodruff hits the antenna out of play, 16-10. Avery with a good dig. McKenzie is blocked. Hardy comes to get it over Avery. Woodruff just pushes it. Allen, Mackenzie back to Allen, and Allen gets rewarded on the free ball, makes it 17-10. Do we get a timeout? Yep, we're going to get one. Friddle calls the timeout, makes it 17-10, Augusta in front. Emmanuel now out of timeouts. Augusta still with their full allotment. Augusta trying to go up 2-1. They lead 17-10. Back to action here. 17-10, Augusta in front here in set number 3. Natalia Gouveia continues her serve. Avery will get to it. Hardy will set it up for Cotton. She is blocked, but it went under the net on the recoil by Chloe Allen, makes it 17-11. So out of that timeout, Emmanuel able to get the point. And that's something I've noticed. Coach Friddle knows how to get his team back engaged because every time he's called the timeout, they've come out and got a point and gotten on a run.
That's a smart man, because not only does it take that as well, but he sees what Augusta's trying to do. So what does he do? He formulates a plan in his mind of how to counterattack that. And what he's done, and coming out of the timeouts, has worked brilliantly to attack Augusta and bridge the gap closer to them being able to overtake Augusta in these type of scenarios, or if they don't overtake them, they're better off surviving in these type of moments that they're facing right now with those adjustments that the head coach has made for Emmanuel.
Well, Cotton, missed it. Makes it 19-11. Augusta was able to get a point when Emmanuel could not save the previous point. Makes it 19-11. Chloe Allen is serving for the Jags, trying to wrap up set number 3. That is misplayed by Henderson. Makes it 22-11, and any break that you're going to give Augusta, they're going to kick it right down and exploit it. 5 points away from taking the set and leading the match 2-1. Allen serve. They attack Henderson. She's able to get that one. That's blocked. And Henderson again. Augusta is noticing that Henderson may not be as confident as her teammates, and they're trying to take advantage of her.
And to your point just a few minutes ago, Augusta has a motto of bring your A game. It takes more than that for the teams that come in here and try to battle like this. It not only takes your A game, but it takes a fiery, tenacious game to where you're executing flawlessly beyond belief to try to penetrate an already stout Augusta squad, especially on the defensive end.
Savannah Gonzalez dug out. Hardy for Cotton, adjust. Gouveia with a nice dig. Beck, Avery, Hardy, middle, it was a miscommunication. Gouveia, Beck, they'll go to Hedrick, and she gets the kill. A long rally won by the Jags. It seems like Augusta comes away with these long rallies every time out, and Emmanuel's going to make a substitution. Caitlin Henderson going out. They'll bring in Jessica Gray, and this is when you need Jessica if you're Emmanuel. You're down, and she's got to get some points for you. Chloe Allen continuing the serve for Augusta.
Well, her and DeBlanc have been leaders on this squad to bring them back in a rallying cry, and that's what they're trying to do right now.
There'll be a touch on that DeBlanc kill, makes it 22-12. Mia Cotton exits, and they bring in Nikki Kranig. Kranig will serve at 22-12. Natalia Gouveia for Mackenzie Beck for Savannah Gonzalez. And it's off of Gray. It might have been in play anyways. Makes it 23-12. Set 3 is 2 points away for Augusta as Sharik Brian Garmos enters the game to try and put the set away and give Augusta the 2-1 lead.
That was just precision meeting X marks the spot on that. Perfect placement for the Jags. It's like we talked about earlier. They can reach it, but they can't do anything with it when they reach it.
That is blocked, but out of play. It was close on the line there, but they called it out. Emmanuel gets the point. No harm, no foul. If you're Augusta, you're still up by 10. Gabby Gussetti comes in to try and give the Lions some service games and get them closer. Garmos for Beck. Missed it wide, no touch.
Beck had the mindset there of not letting what happened in last set happen this set, with the Lions coming back and making this more of a game than Augusta would like in the second set. And she just misfired just a little bit on that kill.
Hardy for DeBlanc, and there's a kill, so back-to-back points. 23-15 in favor of Augusta. Gussetti trying to get the 16th point for Emmanuel. Here's the serve. Gouveia, Garmos, Beck off the block, and that'll be a kill. It was over Stephanie Hardy, and Cranny could not get there. Makes it 24-15. Set point for the Jags, 9 of them. And Savannah Gonzalez will try and close it out for the Jags here in set 3, trying to give the Jags 2-1 lead. Hardy for DeBlanc. Off the block, out of play. Emmanuel lives to see another point.
You know, you often hear in sports about teams being second-half teams. And it's especially in football and in baseball. But here, Emmanuel is kind of becoming a second-half team. Like, once the score passes 15 on either side, they become more focused, they become more electric, and they become more imposing on the offensive and defensive sides, which is allowing them to make the matchups and make the contest more invigorating, more eye-inducing, eye-enticing, and with more fight behind it, making it more of a survival game and a better game to try to overtake the sets.
See if Frazier can close it out. She cannot. DeBlanc for Gray. Holland Martin is there. Garmos will get it. Frazier. And she'll get the kill that time. 25-17. Augusta takes set number 3, and they lead the match 2-1. So they got their run in the middle of set 3, utilized it to their advantage. Emmanuel tried to rally, could not, and now Augusta set away from taking the match. They lead it 2-1, winning set 2 25-18 and winning set 3 25-17. So we'll take a break and come back. Set number 4 is on the way next. We're back here in set number 4. Jay Douglas, Blake Collins here with you. Augusta taking set number 3, 25-17. They lost set number 1, 25-23, but they have since then rebounded. We'll see how Emmanuel wants to take advantage of some things here in set number 4. You know, Jessica Gray's been the go-to person, as has Julie DeBlanc. Do they ride them to a set 4 win and force us to a 5th, or do we see some of the youngsters or maybe some of the players that aren't the kill leaders for Emmanuel step in? And it looks like we're going to get our answer right now. Well, no, I thought you were going to make substitutions, but they're not. I take that back. So what do you think, Blade? Do you think they're going to ride their hot hands, or do you think they're going to try and take that different approach, like you were talking about, catch Augusta off guard, use different players to win this 4th set?
Coming out of the gate, they'll ride the hot hands.
Mm-hmm.
They'll definitely ride the hot hands. But as the set rolls on further, I would not be surprised to see the head coach as well on the ball as he's been with adjustments, utilize what you're talking about and implement different players in this game to try to, or in this matchup, to try to throw off the Augusta defense.
Well, a kill for Chloe Allen could not be saved by the Lions, and that adjustment is made right away as Victoria Alexander enters the game for the Lions. First time we've seen her. 1-0 Augusta with Natalia Gouveia serving.
And we want to make mention, too, that Lander is playing right now against Erskine. They are the 3rd place team in the Peach Ball Conference, 1 game behind Augusta. And they're also going into a 4th set. They have control of the set, so 2-1, much like Augusta does here. If Augusta wins this game and Erskine can't come back, they will be up 2 games in the Peach Belt Conference and in firm control of 2nd place.
Well, we'll see what happens when those two collide. Hardy for Cotton off of Holland Martin, and finally a long rally goes to the Lions, making it 1-1 here in set number 4. Augusta leading the match 2-1. Asia Avery will serve for the Lions.
If there's one thing that, outside of the phenomenal trench work and defensive acumen of Emmanuel, it's their one thing that they're saying is they are not going to die. They are not going to quit, and they keep coming at you like a house of fire, and they have taken a lead here, and they have caught Augusta on the back of their heels. Now, it's just a 1-point advantage. But to them, it's refreshing as they've been down the last 2 sets to see them ahead. See if they can utilize that and shoot out of the gates here to a commanding lead.
Well, Augusta gets a block, makes it 2-2. It's do or die here in set number 4, although it is early. If Emmanuel wants any chance of winning this match, they have to take this set. We were talking about the Lander game because that's the next match for Augusta. They'll be on a collision course next week, or I guess Friday, as a kill for Emmanuel makes it 3-2. Woodruff picks up the kill.
And where it differentiates here is Lander's only played 3 Peach Belt Conference games. The game here Friday will be their 4th. Augusta's played 4. They're 3-1. Landers is 2-1. So right now, Augusta's 1 game ahead. But they can easily, if Lander loses at Erskine, and it does not look that that's going to be the case, but if it somehow turns out that Lander does lose and Augusta wins, they will jump 2 games ahead of Lander shooting into Friday. Now, if the scores hold like they are, then it will be still a game behind, with Lander the chance on Friday to deadlock the games back at dead even, and then going into Saturday and beyond is where the battle will ensue on who takes 2nd place.
Well, Erskine has rattled off 3 in a row, making it 5-2. Avery for DeBlanc, dug out by Gouveia. Mackenzie Beck for Hedrick and gets a kill, puts it into that, makes it 5-3. 5-3, Augusta trailing. Brian Garmos comes in as Blair Bolton exits. So it is Emmanuel who gets off to the fast start here in set number 4. See if Augusta can get back on track. Hardy, it's still in play, and now it's out of play. Nikki Kranig tried to save it but could not, makes it 5-4. Good job by Augusta to get that point.
I would not be surprised in the least bit if not only the head coach, but DeBlanc, Hardy, and Gray stepped up in the time in between the third and the fourth set to try to lead this team into tying this setup, because right now, as we mentioned before, they are coming out a different team and are on fire like they were in the first set.
That's a kill for Woodruff. So it makes it 6-4. So Gassetti will serve.
And also remember, too, going forward, too, as Emmanuel is not adverse to this type of competition, Carson Newman took Augusta University to the limits in a losing tournament set match in which they only lost 2 tournament games to open up the season for Augusta. Carson Newman was one of them. They went toe-to-toe with Carson Newman, and they've also gone toe-to-toe against Limestone, 2 very tough competitors that have given Augusta fits this year and in years past, and Emmanuel's gone toe-to-toe against them, and so they are well equipped for this type of intense battle that lays in front of them.
Mackenzie Beck gets the kill to tie the setup at 6. Gonzalez serving. Gassetti for Hardy on 2, but Gonzalez is there. Garmos for Frazier off the block. Kranig is there. Hardy sets it for DeBlanc. Block. Beck kept it alive and beautifully. Gonzalez, DeBlanc, Hardy out to Gray. Dug out by Gonzalez, but out of play. Makes it 7-6 in favor of the Lions.
You know what, though? What a phenomenal dig by Augusta. That was a split-second reaction from standing bent-over position to a flat-out dive to dig out to keep that point alive. Phenomenal there. They just couldn't capitalize on the final play of that particular point.
That service error makes it 7 apiece. Here's the Holland Martin serve. Kranig for Avery to Gray. Garmos for Holland Martin for Mackenzie Beck. Dug out by Kranig. Hardy for Gray again. Dug out by Garmos. Holland Martin for Alyssa Frazier. Avery thought about letting it go. Gassetti, a beautiful save. Avery plays it. Allen. Garmos for Frazier. Avery again digs it out. Hardy at the net, and it's still alive. Hardy pushes it to Gray. She is blocked, but Emmanuel, gets the point, 8-7. Another long rally that goes in favor of the Lions. Augusta was taking advantage of long rallies early, but it is Emmanuel who is taking advantage of the long rallies as of late. Stephanie Hardy serving for the Lions.
Yeah, it was a tremendous dig, and Gassetti with the major one there to set that up with a redirected dig that went cross court to set up that initial point for the Lions. McKenzie gets the
Mia McKenzie gets the block for the Lions. Stephanie Hardy still serving. Holland Martin, Garmos, Beck. It's off of Avery and out of play, making it 9-8. Blair Bolton will re-enter the game for the Jags as Garmos goes out.
There was nothing that Avery could do. She did the best she could on that to try to get to it just a little bit beyond her reach. And a break for Augusta to creep back up, only trailing by 1 now.
Mackenzie Beck sets it to Frazier and missed it long, makes it 10-8. So Emmanuel will get the serve back. And it looks like Alexander. Victoria Alexander enters the game, as does Jenna Woodruff. Alexander going to serve. Victoria Alexander is a freshman from Miami, Florida. Here's the serve. Taken by Martin. Beck for Allen off the block, out of play, point to the Jags, making it 10-9.
It was a good decision there. Instead of trying to split the Stonewall block like we've talked about all year long with them being close together, what she did was go on the side, and they blocked it, but it deflected off the side and went out of bounds. So a good read there by Augusta to circumvent that block instead of penetrating, hit and deflect and secure the point.
Savannah Gonzalez dug out by Avery. Woodruff comes to get it. Set up for Cotton. Did it take a touch? No. Point to Augusta, ties the match up, or the setup at 10. Augusta leads the match 2-1. So both teams back and forth here in set number 4. Natalia Gouveia serving for the Jags, trying to give her team the lead. Woodruff for Hardy, for Cotton off the top of the block, and it couldn't be saved by Gouveia. So Mia Cotton is getting some touches here in set number 4 as DeBlanc re-enters the game. And Asia Avery will serve. 11-10, Emmanuel in front, trying to force this into a 5th set. This is a toss-up, which we thought it would be. Hardy setting for DeBlanc and gets the kill. 12-10 in favor of Emmanuel.
Just the fluidity of that coming out of the gate from the setup to the initial kill on that possession for Emmanuel was flawless.
Matchup of two heavyweights trading right hands right now. Avery for Gouveia to Beck for Gonzalez. Off of Hardy. Couldn't get in front of it to dig it out. Makes it 12-11. Good job by Gonzalez to get the kill to make it 12-11. And Augusta, what they want to do here is they just want to keep it close. Mm-hmm. You do not want to lose the set early so you can have a chance when we get late.
Right, because right now, and we've seen this all year, is if you don't let it get too out of control, you can simmer around and strike when the time is right and go on a severe run. So they want to keep this between 2 to 3 points to try to be able to attack later on and secure the third point in this matchup and not let it go to a sudden death 5th set. Now if you are Emmanuel here, you want to play to the best of your ability, but knowing that too, you also want to don't maximize your effort right now. Keep a little bit in the tank, so if they do that, then you can push back with your best, and then we've got a dogfight to the finish.
Well, that was an interesting point. It went over Mackenzie Beck, but Emmanuel could not get around the ball to save it. Makes it 13-12. Three straight points for the Jags to take that lead. See if Chloe Allen can extend it. Alexander to Woodruff close to the net, and Hedrick mistimed her jump, and it will be a point for Emmanuel. So a pair of overpasses, one for Augusta and one for Emmanuel, both work to their advantage to tie the match back up, or tie the set back up at 13. I do apologize. The match is 2-1 Augusta. Emmanuel wants to say something about that, though. Force us to a 5th set.
Right.
Kranig serving. Gouveia to Mackenzie Beck for Blair Bolton. Plays it over. Avery, beautiful save. But no, they called a double touch. They said either Avery or Kranig touched it twice, and therefore Augusta gets the point on the violation, making it 14-13. Sharik Bryan Garmos will serve for Augusta, trying to extend the lead.
It looked like it might have been Kranig, because once Avery dug it out and deflected, as she was reacting back, as you would see like a baseball player might react when a fastball is coming up and in your head, trying to lean out of the way. She did that type of reaction, and the ball might have hit her on the reaction back and double touched on Kranig. So that might have been what the refs were calling there. Well,
that's an ace for Garmo. She's had a few of those in the match. 15-13 in favor of Augusta. Emmanuel will call the timeout. Still alive here. This set is far from over. We'll see what Emmanuel does out of this timeout. Coach Friddle has done an amazing job out of these timeouts, getting his ladies into that mindset of, okay, there's no need to panic. We still got this.
Oh, absolutely. And when you look at it too, coming out of the timeouts, especially in the last 3, this is the closest they've been to the Jags coming out of the last 3 timeouts. So when you're this close and you have that ability to keep your girls engaged, keep your girls cooking on all cylinders, and ready to fire and strike and overtake a ball game and overtake the matchup that you're in, this would be a good time to start implementing that like he has done to try to help them survive in the sets when they've been down by so much. Implementing something like that to get them engaged and take the lead in this set for the Lions would be huge.
Garmos with a service error makes it 15-14. So Emmanuel didn't really have to do anything, but they get a break coming out of the timeout. Maybe they gave Garmos a different look, and Garmos didn't really know who she wanted to attack on that serve.
Right.
Gassetti is serving for the Lions, and also Jessica Gray has re-entered the game. Gouveia, Garmos for Gonzalez. She is blocked. It's kept alive. Avery for Gray trying to get involved, and she does. Well, when they need a point, number 13 in black is who they go to.
The block and Gray up top has been phenomenal. The block, the emphatic block. I'm not sure how she even deflected that toward Gray, but she wound up securing a great setup out of the block, and Gray just capitalized on it. But Augusta comes right back. Yeah,
Mackenzie Beck says, not so fast. This is our set to have. We're going to take advantage. Gouveia out, Frazier in, and Savannah Gonzalez on the serve. Gassetti for Hardy to Gray off the top of the block. Martin digs it out. Garmos for Beck. That is off the block, and it falls in front of Avery, who couldn't save it. And Augusta goes in front by 2. Emmanuel still has a timeout left. We'll see when Coach Friddle wants to use it. Augusta has their full allotment as they lead it by 2 here in set 4.
So they've tested Gassetti and they've tested Avery, but Krennic has not been tested as much as Gassetti and Avery. So maybe look for that to come into play for Augusta. Start testing Krennic and attacking her off the serve more and see what happens.
18-15, Augusta in front. Krennic gets the touches you were talking about. They go with DeBlanc. She's dug out by Martin. Garmos plays it to Gonzalez. Krennic, Hardy sets it to Gray, and she missed it. Oh, that's a rarity. She missed a big point there, and I think Coach Friddle, will he take the timeout? I guess he's just asking for clarification whether or not that was a touch or not. No overrule, makes it 19-15. Krennic. Gray gets the set. Garmos digs it out. Martin for Frazier, and out. Good communication by the Lions to not play it, makes it 19-16, and Julie DeBlanc will try and get on a run to get the Lions back into this decisive set for them. Augusta's saying, we have a chance to close it out.
Well, now here, too, any gift points you can give them or any physical and mental errors allows for the Lions to reset their mindset and their game plan. It almost works just as well as a timeout does, but try to minimize that going through if you're Augusta, because you do not want to give the Lions an edge when you're trying to bring this matchup home.
Well, Holland Martin just did with a service error after Jessica Hedrick was able to use the Lion block to her advantage to give Augusta the point. Augusta leads at 20-17. Emmanuel will serve. Stephanie Hardy on the serve for the Lions, trying to keep her team in this set. Here it comes. Gonzalez for Garmos. Back to Beck off the top of the block. Avery is able to get there, but it can't be saved. Makes it 21-17, and Augusta will take any trading of points because it leads them that much closer to closing out this match.
Oh, absolutely it does. And if you're the Lions here, you want to try to not extend plays, but to extend plays to where it can get you to create points and go on a run and try to make this even closer than what it is.
I'm not sure that ball was going to stay in play. Emmanuel played it, and thus it cost them a point because there was a double touch call. But that block from Augusta rode the tape, and I'm not sure it was going to land in, but Emmanuel didn't know, so they played it to try and save it. Beautiful kill from Mia McKenzie. My goodness. Landed it beautifully in the back court. Holland Martin couldn't get to it. Emmanuel trying to keep pace. They're down by 4, but they got to string together some points here in a row. Victoria Alexander will try and do that for the Lions. Jenna Woodruff is also in.
Well, right now, these last 3 points for Augusta is like trying to convert the 27th out in baseball, in a sense that this right now is going to be the toughest part of this game that they will face right now, because for Emmanuel, they're playing like it's 6 outs to play with instead of just the 3 points that they're facing right now.
Well, make that now 4 outs.
Right, and 2 points.
So 23-18 as Blair Bolton gets the kill. Natalia Gouveia in to serve. Augusta trying to close it out, but not before we get a timeout from Emmanuel, the final timeout of this set number 4. Emmanuel trails by 5. Coach Fiddle using the timeout to try and tell his ladies, hey, let's give it all you got, 110% right here, right now. Let's make these last 2 points that Augusta has to get. Let's make it the toughest 2 points they've ever had to work for.
And Emmanuel's definitely going to make them work for it, as well as we've seen them work on all facets of their game. Great footwork, phenomenal recovery on defense, being able to pick each other up, and with the leaders, Gray, DeBlanc, and you can add Gassetti to that, and Avery as well. It's one of the better, well-rounded teams Augusta has faced all year long, and it's like we've been saying, it's going to be a rigorous 2 points to get out of a mindset coming out of this timeout, to where right now for the Lions, James, it is everything you've got, leave everything on the table, all or nothing.
23-18, Augusta has the serve, though. We'll see if Natalia Gouveia can give her team the advantage, make it set point. See who she decides to attack on this serve. Jay Douglas, Blake Collins wrapping it up. Avery for Hardy to Cotton. And I'm not sure that one was going to land in. Mackenzie Beck played it out, makes it 23-19. Julie DeBlanc comes in. Exiting is Mia McKenzie, and it's up to the libero, junior from Lawrenceville, Georgia, Asia Avery, to try and put a run together and keep Emmanuel in this set. Chloe Allen, Mackenzie Beck to Gonzalez. She is blocked. Hardy there. Avery to Cotton. Off the block, yes, and out of play. Emmanuel strikes to get to 20. Coach Quarles has her full allotment of timeouts. If Emmanuel makes it 23-21, I'm sure we'll see Coach Quarles spin that timeout.
Because remember, if Emmanuel comes back and get to 23, Augusta or Emmanuel has to score 2 for it to convert into a set wrap-up.
Alexander for Woodruff. Dug out by Gouveia on the overpass. DeBlanc is blocked by Chloe Allen. DeBlanc thought she had a layup, a slam dunk, but Chloe Allen said no. Denies her solo and gives Augusta match point. My goodness, what a play by Chloe Allen.
The biggest clutch player in this game and the biggest point in this game.
Well, there's a bigger one. Jessica Hedrick and Blair Bolton said, hey, Chloe, anything you can do, I can do better. And Augusta closes it out with a block, 25-20. They take the match 3-1.
Emphatic statement, but holy moly. Like, as we go into the wrap up here, Emmanuel completely took Augusta to the limit.
Right, no doubt.
I mean, they came back firing. They had a good game plan, and the adjustments were critical out of timeout. If they didn't have those adjustments that the head coach set up, it wouldn't have been nearly as good of an ending or near the competition that it would have been. But good, and a goodness gracious, what a team They will learn from this. They will get even better taking this game because, remember, we talked about it in the open. They still have tougher competition ahead.
Right.
Lander being one of them, and that'll be on the 11th. But transitioning from that to what I'm about to say, this was a really good seasoned opponent for Augusta to play just before a valuable conference game that they will be facing Friday here in the Christenberry Fieldhouse. We'll have it here for you here versus Lander, because with Lander facing Erskine and it going to a 4-set, not really knowing how that has played out yet, this particular Emmanuel team has Augusta ready for the Bearcats coming to call on Friday.
No doubt. Augusta 14-3 now. Emmanuel 10-8. Augusta's next opponent is Lander on Friday, and then USC Aiken on Saturday. The Friday game's at 7, the Saturday game's at 2. Let's check out the final stats from tonight's match. Augusta takes it again, 3-1. They drop set 1, 25-23, but come back to win set 2 through 4, 25-18, 25-17, and 25-20, respectively. Individually for the Lions, Julie DeBlanc led with 18 kills, Jessica Gray with 12, Mia Cotton 11, Jenna Woodruff 7, and Mia McKenzie with 5. Augusta led by Savannah Gonzalez with 11, Mackenzie Beck with 10, Jessica Hedrick, Chloe Allen both with 9, Blair Bolton with 6, Alyssa Frazier with 5. Team-wise, hitting percentage, 244 for Augusta, 167 for Emmanuel, 55 kills for the Jags, 54 for the Lions. The errors is probably where the game was won and lost. 26 errors for the Lions, 17 for the Jags. Service errors, again, probably where the game was won and lost. 7 errors for the Lions, 6 for the Jags. Last but not least, digs in favor of Emmanuel, 73-67 for the Jags.
Now, we talked about how critical this game was for this weekend. This weekend, Augusta hosts the number 3 team in the Bearcats. Then the very next day, hours later, because the Saturday game is at 2 o'clock, they will host the number 1 seed in the Peach Belt Conference back to back. You want to talk about trench warfare, and you want to talk about just how powerful and how valuable this game was to a team that is getting ready to face their staunchest competition to date, Friday and Saturday. This was huge because Aiken cooks is about as well as Augusta does on all cylinders. Lander, there's a reason why they are third in the conference. This is a very improved conference, and for Augusta to face Emmanuel to get them ready for number 3 and number 1 respectively this weekend in a must-see environment here, it was pivotal.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some great crowds on hand for those 2 games. Let's run through the conference standings right quick before we go off the air here. I think Augusta was either second or third percentage points, depending on how many games had been played. So it's definitely going to be key for these next couple games. No doubt that the conference is going to start revealing itself. Aiken 3-0. So percentage points, Augusta's in second, 3-1 in conference play. Lander 2-1. Georgia College 2-2. Francis Marion Flagler both 1-3. UNC Pembroke 0-2. So can't wait to see what happens. I'll be back for the Georgia College game, so I do get 1 conference game during my time here. 2 more visits, Blake. It's hard to believe that I have just 2 visits left, but man, this team, from what I saw in year 1 to now, it's amazing to see what Coach Quarles has been able to do with this team since I've been covering them.
Just one more point on that, and then we'll talk about what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
The percentage points between, and you mentioned this, Augusta and Lander is smaller than 1/100th of a percentage point. It's like, okay, basically, so if you take the like you see in $10 and the cents, basically the percentage point is below 100. It's 0.750 to 0.667.
Right.
That is as small as the break is between Lander and Augusta. Now, as we mentioned, Augusta has played 4, Lander's played 3, but percentage point wise, that is as small as it has become. And yeah, it is from what you've been talking about, the chemistry and the recruiting that head coach Sharon Quarles has done has been phenomenal. You had Mackenzie Gray come in last year. Govea shot in here last year. You had Savannah Gonzalez has been here for quite a while herself. Though those particular core of players have been through the rigors, have been through every facet, and been through excruciating games, come out on excruciating losses, been through phenomenal and impactful wins. The leadership on this team is outstanding.
Right.
And that is where, not only from a coach's perspective, having player leaders like that,
right,
but for the rest of the players, because you tend to, a lot of times, what players will say tend to resonate just a little bit more hearing it from a player than it would be from a coach at times.
No doubt.
And that's the type of quality that you need in the crucial elements like we saw today in the first set, coming back from a first set loss, to take it 3 sets to virtually sweeping Emmanuel after their first set. So from that standpoint, yes, it is very crucial, and it is a very much improved team, and they will even get better, because not only for one, they have major experience coming out the wazoo. They've been to playoffs, but you're talking to some of the players a little bit earlier on, and especially with Beck, she was like, we know what we experienced what happened to us last year. Right? But we're also more hungry now than we ever have been for a championship.
Oh, no doubt.
And so that type of fierceness, that type of impactfulness, that type of leadership comes in very valuable in areas like this, where you're on the brink, where you're not playing your best game, to rally everybody up. And it makes more of an impact too, not only from the coach's standpoint, but from the players as well when you're going through something like this.
That is going to do it for today's broadcast. Augusta takes it 3-1. Emmanuel 1-1, 25-23. Augusta fights back to win set 2, 25-18, 25-17 in set 3, and then 25-20 in set 4. Up next for Augusta, who is now 14-3. They will take on Lander on Friday at 7 o'clock, and then USC Aiken on Saturday at 2. Emmanuel is now 10-8. They've got some conference games on the remaining of their schedule, but they also will play Lander and some Peach Belt Conference teams. Before we go, I want to tell you, Khabib Nurmagomedov, 26-0 against Conor McGregor, 21-3 for the lightweight title. Give me Conor.
Hey, I'll tell you this too. What a better way, because this starts at what? 2.
Yeah, you get to
Saturday.
see it.
So
you get to see it.
So what? Like, here's the thing. What a better way to witness this,
and then go watch the fight.
Watch the fight.
Absolutely.
Or okay, and you also have the baseball playoffs on too. So you can't beat it any other way. So I mean, from that standpoint, yeah, we've been talking about different avenues that you can take into volleyball and take away from it to impact the game. Same thing goes vice versa. Different aspects of different games can go into MMA, and you can utilize those to be the best fighter that you can be. So that will be a really good matchup as well to watch on Saturday.
That's going to be all for tonight. Again, Augusta 3-1. They are now 14-3. Emmanuel now 10-8. For Blake Collins, I'm Jay Douglas saying good night, and we'll talk to you next time.